Good evening, folks. I hope you're all very well this evening. I hope everyone's fine. So I just want to say a big hello to everyone who's on the stream. We have, let me see. We have Peter Evans, welcome. We have Aaron, great to see you, Aaron. We have Angels, great to see you, Angels, once again. We have Killer, great to have you on, Killer, moderating once again. Hope you're very well. We have Dude, great to see you, Dude. We have Dano, Magister, Kenny, great to see you, Kenny. We have Akismad, great to have you on again. We have CJ, great to see you, CJ. We have, let me see, Andrew Farrell, great to have you on. Basil Faulty, once again. Is that a photo Boris was saying, did you steal my tricycle? English Viking, great to see you, English Viking. Let me just go down. Everyone can hear me. Tell me if you cannot hear me on the stream. There seems to be a bit of a lag on the stream tonight, unfortunately, but I'll try and fix that as we go. Let me see. English Viking, great to see you, English Viking. Ben, great to have you on. Oshin, great to see you. We have Listiger, great to see you. We have Ghostly, great to see you. Ministerian, great to have you on once again. Nico, great to have you on. Raven, great to see you. We have Cameron, Kevin, Tiny Demolition Lover. Thank you for coming on the stream once again. I hope you're very well. We have Glenn, Angela, Zaffer, Big Gip. Who else have we got? Glasgow Kiss, great to see you, Glasgow Kiss. Sheila, great to have you on. Foxtrot, great to see you. Tom, great to have you on once again, Tom. I hope you're well. Hope everything's good with you. We have Michael, great to see you, Michael. Sheila. John O'Sullivan. Who else have we got? Obidon, great to see you, Obidon. Michael, maybe I already said hello to Michael. Steve, great to see you, Steve. Glenn, Dude, I already said hello to Dude. Archangel, great to see you. We have Emperor, great to have you on. Derek, who has Chosen, great to see you, Chosen. Reagan Elite, great to have you on. Giorgio, great to see you. Love, I'll run through these very quickly. Unfortunately, my software isn't updating the number of people on the stream for some reason. We have Herbie, great to see you, Herbie. Trevo. Mary Flanagan. George, great to see you, George. FSM, great to see you. James Scott. Chris Fortunatus, great to see you. Super Galactic Commander of Independent Space England. Great to see you. Artemis, great to see you. Trump's got the I shouldn't laugh because Trump is now infected. Kenny, great to see. So a big hello to everyone who's just come on the stream. A big thank you to George for that super chat. So what are we going to talk about tonight? Well, you can imagine I had actually planned to talk about something, but it's been thrown out the window. Conservator, great to see you. Hi Paul. Hi Liam. Yeah, I had to throw that out the window because the news has succeeded me. So unless you've been living under a rock for the last number of days, even the last number of hours, you'd know that Donald Trump contacted the coronavirus. So what is there to say about that? The irony, in a sense, of just a moment, the slow mode is on. Russell, thank you very much for that super chat. If you have a question, stick it in the chat. Just a moment, I'll switch off the slow mode. Bear with me just one moment. Where do I do this? Live chat. Snow mode disabled. Okay. That should be better. Okay. Sorry about that. Hope you all get well. Ministerian, thank you very much for that super chat. Biden tested negative. Yes, Biden... at the moment, Joe Biden has tested negative, so it'll be important for him to get tested once again, because he may have tested negative now, but he will need another test, because he may have it may take time to, how can we say, incubate. So he may have been tested too early, and he's not showing symptoms, or he's not. The test may not pick up the virus completely, so he may need to be tested again. But it's good news for Joe Biden, at least. So Trump has become the Democrats' hoax. Yes, you know, this president who has spent the last 6 months downplaying this virus. The very beginning of the pandemic, what he was saying, it's a hoax. It's a Chinese flu. It's you know, we need to reopen the country. I can't. Should we welcome coronavirus on the stream tonight? Everyone, I hope you're wearing a mask, because coronavirus is on the stream, and you want to be careful. You know, I'm laughing because this is so ironic. Thank you for that super chat, for that donation, coronavirus. Trump's Supreme Court nomination was a super spreader event. Wonder what happens if both Biden and Trump croak it in the next 2 weeks. President Bernie. I think if there's a problem with Trump, it goes to, what's his name? Mike Pence. And then if there's a problem with Mike Pence, it goes to Nancy Pelosi. And then if there's a problem with Nancy Pelosi, I don't know who comes up. Maybe Bernie Sanders. Bernie wins by default. That would be hilarious. No worries, guys. Thoughts and prayers for Trump, or coronavirus is a hoax, just the flu? Yeah, which is the, you know, should people pray for Donald Trump or should they not? You know, is it real? That's what his supporters have been saying all year long. Pelosi gets to spread roses. I'm astonished Melania got it. She can't even bear to be anywhere near him. Probably, yeah. How did she get it? Maybe it's, you know, the way he was trying to grab her hand, and she'd be always slapping his hand away. Probably because she believes, you know, you're probably infected. You're going around without a mask all the time. Alexis, great to see you on the stream. Bernie, last man standing at 90 years old. It worked. He worked hard for it. I keep my 2 meters distance. Hey, pray away, pointless. Is Kiefer Sutherland next in line? Kiefer Sutherland would make a fantastic president. If coronavirus is a hoax, how do you explain so many deaths? No, I don't think anyone here on the stream thinks it's a hoax. I hope that question is directed at Donald Trump. So I want to show you this video. Hopefully the buffering doesn't mess up the video. So let's hear what it is. So this is some news from Sky News about Donald Trump testing positive. So let's hear what they had to say.
And in the last few minutes, President Trump has tweeted saying that he and the First Lady have tested positive for COVID-19. Let's go straight to Los Angeles and our US correspondent, Greg Milam. Morning to you, Greg. I mean, we knew this was a possibility, but this is going to play really big in the States, isn't it? Yeah, it is.
I just want to say thanks to Tom. Thank you very much for that super chat. Has anyone suggested a bleach injection followed by UV lamp suppository? to the President of the United States yet. I'm sure somebody will be able to suggest it to him. Stream is good, man. Great. Okay, that's fantastic. There were some issues at the beginning of the stream, so they have sorted themselves out.
It is. I mean, this is a tweet 5 to 1 in the morning in Washington, and that tweet from the president saying we will get through this together. But you're right, it's been coming in the last couple of hours, and I can take you through what happened. Excuse me. Hope Hicks, who's one of the closest, if not the closest advisor to Donald Trump, was confirmed a few hours ago as having tested positive for COVID-19. Now, she has been traveling with the president throughout this week. She was on that trip to Cleveland in Ohio for the presidential debate on Tuesday. She was with him on a trip to a rally in Minnesota on Wednesday. Now, on that trip to Minnesota, she'd had a
Look at all the people wearing masks.
Test. She was found to be negative before traveling. She began to
Look at all the people maintaining social distancing.
Feel unwell on the trip and quarantined on the plane back. She'd been on Air Force One and Marine One with the president. She tested positive when she got back, and that was on Wednesday night. And as a result of that, in the last few...
Actually, my mistake. This is probably from some time ago. It's not... okay, apologies. It's 2019. Okay, how times have changed.
few hours, the president confirmed that he and the First Lady had been tested for COVID-19. They were, in his words, beginning the quarantine process, and they expected the result in the next few hours. And that result is what we've just got back in the last few minutes. What's interesting is that the White House knew that Hope Hicks was positive on Wednesday night, Washington time, but still the president went ahead yesterday with the visit to his golf course in New Jersey, in Bedminster. That was for a fundraiser. So even though they knew he'd been in close contact with someone who had tested positive, that trip was allowed to go ahead.
Why? Because Donald Trump doesn't give a crap about anyone. Russell, thank you very much for that super chat. Question to the chat: will Donald and coronavirus? With Donald, sorry, that the chat with Donald and coronavirus. Does he actually have to do it, or does he believe that this is some political ploy? Does he actually have? So does he actually have it, or do you believe it's some sort of political ploy? I believe he has it. If he was faking it, I think it would be really, really strange. 300 viewers, only 79 likes. That's impossible. Smash that like button, guys. Remember, if you'd want to get your comment in the top, you can hit me with a super chat, like people are doing at the moment. Many people would automatically run to the idea, well, this is just him faking it. He's not really infected. Now, I'm not jumping into conspiracy theories here, but the debate was a disaster, and perhaps he would like to avoid another debate. I think there's another debate pretty soon on the 15th of October. He'd like to avoid that, probably. It's been demonstrated that he's not capable of doing debates with Joe Biden. And the next debate they're talking about is having stronger moderation, cutting off his microphone or something while he's speaking. So if he actually benefit from not going to another debate because it's damaging for him. So you could imagine on the one side, well, see, that's probably why he's faking it. But he's not doing any more rallies, and his rallies are the things that really motivate his supporters. Isn't the VP debate for? Yeah, I think that the VP debate is next week. I think it's on the 15th. Is the next the main candidate, the presidential candidate debate. So it's the VP one is first, and then there's there's another one for the presidential candidates. But it's a way. So there is a sort of silver lining here for Trump, that he doesn't have to do a debate, but it's a huge cost for him not to do these rallies. I think he has it. Yeah, I think he has it too. The idea of avoiding it is pretty. It's not impossible, but I think it's highly unlikely that he doesn't have it. Kip, thank you very much for that super chat. Now the other side of it is his supporters and his donors are very concerned about this. Anthony C, thank you very much for that super chat. There's credible evidence Trump may not have, scroll down, may not be infected, but using the story to deflect from the terrible narrative of the past 2 weeks, campaign donations have been misused and the story may break. That's very interesting. But I still have a problem with him not doing rallies, because rallies were the thing that he really wanted to do. And even if he's been misusing donations, that's still going to come out. I don't see how he can avoid that news. If it's coming out, it's coming out. It'll be damaging for him. And as soon as he, leaves quarantine, because I assume he's going to be okay. I don't think he's going to be. I don't see him going into hospital over this. I don't see him in a similar situation to Boris Johnson, where Boris Johnson actually went into hospital. But Max, they weren't working. Careful, Max. I will place the video on Discord. I find it hard to believe that they'll be able to convince the entire scientific community to be to outright lie to the international TV on the spot. I wouldn't. No, that's why I don't. I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm just saying it seems unlikely that he would actually be lying to the public here, because I still think he's missing out on his rallies, and his rallies are a huge boost to his ego and to his supporters, because he needs his supporters to come out and vote. And I think there's a big risk here also for him that if his supporters see him as weak, whoa, wait a minute, he's not invincible, he's not the dear leader that we thought he was. There's a risk that he would lose support. Nordis, thank you very much for that super chat. Imagine the chaos among US COVIDians if Trump wouldn't be okay after this. They would have a meltdown. They would. Yeah, that's I'm just imagining that they would lose their minds, because a lot of them have bought into these conspiracy theories. Wow. George, thank you very much for that. So Nordis, I think they would lose their minds completely. They would be marching in the streets. George, let me just see your comment above. I don't see George's comment. Whoops. George, can you put your comment in once again? Trump also hates weakness. This makes him appear weak. I agree, Ministerian. Thank you very much for that super chat. Yeah, I think Trump would... It seems out of character for Trump to get infected, because it would appear, it would make him look weak. He wants to keep the presidency, because otherwise he's going to jail, because he's slack. He needs to stay as president. I talked about this before. He needs to remain as president. This would undermine his ability to remain on as president. Now, we could fall on either side of this. Some people will say he's doing it to your killer, you bow back. So people are saying on one side that he's pretending. Okay. Something has changed here. Okay, that's cool. Can he pardon himself? That's an interesting question. Sorry, the ticker changed. I put in a new ticker and it seems to have changed to do something different than I expected. I don't think he can pardon himself. I think it's new territory, the idea that a president would pardon himself. It hasn't been done before, as far as I know. I bet you, Max, 1 in a million, Trump is using this as a sympathy vote. That was actually something I was thinking about as well, Janja. The idea that he would use it so that he would come back after, a bit weaker, and he would be able to avoid criticism in a sense. But I don't know how long that would last. We can look at Boris Johnson in the same way. When Boris Johnson was in hospital, everyone was, poor Boris, poor Boris, poor Boris. But when he came out of hospital, he was still being criticized. He didn't get away from the criticism. In a sense, the criticism increased because they said, look, you've been affected by this as well. How come you haven't realized? And I don't know if you guys remember when I uploaded a video about it, I said, now Boris Johnson needs to take a look long hard at himself, look at his policies, turn around, reach inside his soul and find some humanity, and then do a U-turn and say, okay, we should actually be looking after the NHS. We should be looking after the nurses, the doctors, the frontline staff, instead of throwing them under a bus as usual. No, but Pence can pardon Trump if Trump claims he must step down due to illness. Wouldn't it be funny if Trump said, okay, Pensy old boy, Mike, what I'm going to do is I'm going to resign. You'll become president, and then you'll pardon me. Yeah, sure, Donald, you go and do that. Donald Trump resigns, and then he goes to Mike Pence. Okay, you're going to pardon me. What? Pardon who? Pardon me for the crimes I've committed. You committed crimes? That's terrible, Donald. You should go to prison. Imagine a picture of Trump in a hospital bed wearing an oxygen mask, looking very, very ill. I mean, it will be then by re-election. I think it could be, I think if he's in hospital, definitely it's over. I think there's the issue that he could come out of hospital stronger. If he went into hospital and then came out of hospital stronger, recovered. But we've seen with Boris Johnson took a couple of weeks to recover. If Donald Trump goes into hospital, then I think it's over. Even if he's fine, even if he doesn't get very sick or whatever, if he has to go into hospital, it's over. I don't know, would they cancel the election? Would they postpone the election? I don't know if that's possible for a president who's ill. But I think it would be over for... Go straight to hell, Ethan. I think it would be over for Donald Trump. So he will very much not want to go into hospital, because even if he goes in for a day or a couple of days, it'll take time to recover from, if he has to go on a ventilator or something like that. But he's 74 and big fatty. How did Kirshner test? That's an interesting question. Anyway, let's continue with this.
And it's only in the last few hours that quarantine process has begun, and that will be a 14-day quarantine process. We wait to hear from the White House what the protocol is. Now, under guidelines...
So 14 days, okay? So 14 days from today, for example, is the 16th, around the 16th or 17th of October. That's a long time, and it's not a long time before the election. It's very close to the election. Max, cannot pardon himself. A sitting president cannot. Whoops, I lost the comment. I think I'll agree with it anyway. Cannot pardon himself. A sitting president cannot be indicted, let alone come to trial. Other other than by way of the impeachment. One needs to be convicted and sentenced for presidential pardon. So he doesn't even... Okay. So it's not even an issue. Thanks for that, Kevin. Be kind, some of the comments here.
Lines from the Centers for Disease Control. You would assume the president is considered an essential worker, so he will be able to continue to do his job from the White House. You would imagine, although there is the possibility that the Vice President, Mike Pence, will be able to step in. But all of this, of course, in an election campaign, an events planned for the next few days and weeks as he seeks re-election. This is a real bombshell from a man, of course, who has always downplayed his own vulnerability to this virus.
Yeah, I mean, and of course, this is going to bring back all the things that he said right at the beginning of all of this, isn't it? I mean, even down to him claiming at one point that this was all just a hoax. I mean, in terms of the presidential campaigning and what the Democrats and those Republicans who are against Trump are going to say, I mean, this gives them almost an open goal, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, you go back to the very beginning, and of course, in the presidential debate earlier this week, Joe Biden made a great play of the fact that Donald Trump early on had said this would disappear like a miracle. He mocked.
Yes, I remember that. So Donald Trump was saying, yeah, it's going to disappear. It's going to disappear it'll be like a miracle. It'll return to zero. There'll be zero. It will disappear. And of course, he kept downplaying it. Like, you know, we need to reopen the economy. We need to get back to work. This is, you know, he was egging on these lunatics who would walk around with automatic weapons or semi-automatic weapons, egging these people on to challenge the governors or the local representatives in each of the states, which was insane. You know, what was it? A Michigan, make Michigan free, or free Michigan, or something like that. That was ridiculous when these governors were saying we need to lock down. Wee Scott's Dog, thank you very much for that super chat. Trumpy, he needed a sick note. His mum wrote, he's not feeling great. Therefore, please excuse Are We Donald for not attending the next debate. Was it his mummy or was it Mike Pence that wrote that note? Sugar Free, great to see you on the stream.
The fact that Donald Trump had talked about injecting bleach, although Donald Trump said he was being sarcastic, of course.
I remember that as well. So he was like, maybe we should inject something into the lungs, we could shine a light in there. And then, yeah, I was being sarcastic. But then he went ahead and tried to demonstrate and then tried to excuse what he actually said. So he said, yeah, I was being sarcastic. But anyway, what we could do is... Noddy Salsi, great to see you on the stream. Ahoy hoy, as they used to say.
Hydroxychloroquine.
Actually, I think that's how Jacob Rees-Mogg probably answers the phone. Ahoy hoy. Telegram received.
The president said he had taken a course of that to make sure that he didn't get the virus himself, and yet here we are, like his ally in Brazil, who had downplayed the risks, but then was tested positive. It's happened, and Donald Trump, as I say, has downplayed his own vulnerability. He very rarely wears a mask himself, as we know. He carries one. He showed it on the debate stage, but he very rarely wears that mask. Some of those around him do. Those who come.
Of course, he doesn't wear the mask because he sees the mask as some sort of weakness, as a symbol of weakness. So he doesn't wear it. And he knows that half his supporters don't believe that the virus is actually real at all. So he's doing this balance of, well, I don't want to wear it, and the people who support me, Dugan, thank you very much for that super chat. And the people who support me, half of them don't believe it's real. So if I don't wear it, then I'm appealing to those people. Max, curious question, where are you from? I'm from Ireland, the centre of Ireland, but now I live in Italy. So I've lost some of my accent. That's probably why I don't sound very Irish. But some people have said, yeah, you can hear when I say certain words like violence, then it seems to convince people that I'm not Italian, or I'm not. It convinces them that I am Irish. The biggest mask he's ever seen. Insightful video about the COVID diagnosis has been placed on Discord server under other videos. Thank you very much for that, Anthony C. Recent New York Times story makes a strong case. Ivanka committed fraud. Rob, thank you very much for that super chat. If you have a question, you can stick it in the chat. Sorry, I'm reading some of the comments here. Max gained a new accent. Max has a strange mix of Irish and Italian. It's cool. Thank you very much, Monkeytron. Peter, great to see you on the stream. Very Irish, but I'm English. Max is Italish or Irian. Fantastic. Violence. Be wary, the American might need to send you some democracy. The debate was like watching Father Ted and Dougal. Yeah, it was definitely like watching Father Ted and Dougal. An older version of Father Ted. Yes, but definitely like Father Ted and Dougal. Fantastic. That's the best comparison I've heard yet. Oh my god. Okay. Now they pointed out the idea. They pointed to the fact that Donald Trump has downplayed this virus. So I just want to show you some clips of what Donald Trump has been saying until now about the virus since the beginning. So let's hear. So these are some of the comments that Donald Trump has made about the virus, and of course the irony of him saying these things at the time.
Virus, right? Kung flu. Said to my people, slow the testing down, please. None of us have ever been.
I remember. So guys, do you remember when he was saying about that? Oh, look, we're testing too many people. Was that feck girls drink? Feck drink girls arse. Loving the channel, Max. Thank you very much, Mark. But when Donald Trump was saying to we need to slow down the testing because we're testing too many people, and if we test too many people, it means that we're having it's showing more results, more infected. But he didn't realize that yes, you're having high numbers of infected because it's catching more people who are infected. If you test fewer people, then you're not going to see how many people are infected. It's like saying, I'm going to drive. I don't know. I'm trying to think of an example, of an analogy. It's like I'm going to drive along the street with my car lights off, because then I don't see how many people I hit with my car. When I turn on the lights, then I'm able to see how many people I hit with my car. I don't know. It's not a perfect analogy, but I think you still get the idea.
I'm told to slow down on tests. In fact, we will be doing more tests.
Trump has this sort of track record of disregarding and undermining science. His administration has sidelined scientific data, scientific advice, its approach to environmental and health policies. Since coronavirus hit, it's sort of been a continuation of that attitude where the president hasn't really respected or abided by what various scientific advice.
Just handing out these things, and there's an image of him throwing a hat to someone just a couple of days ago. No, not just one, I think a number of hats to the audience.
Have said it at various points.
Poor Dr. Fauci. I've always asked, why didn't Dr. Fauci just resign? Unfortunately, he was sidelined. But I think he was like the... the scientist in the disaster movie who's like trying to tell the president, you need to do this, you need to do this, you need to do this. The aliens are coming. We have the data. We need to build a giant gun to shoot down the alien spaceship. And the president is, no, it's too expensive, or no, we don't believe you. Dr. Fauci was that scientist. And this whole situation has been like a bad horror movie, I think. A bad science fiction movie. Max, have you called the corona symptoms or your local doctor? They don't advise you to test unless seriously ill. Often at the doctor, and often it's hard to get a test here in the UK. Fudge going on. I think it's... Yeah, I was talking about that before, how they're in the UK, they were telling people not to get a test unless you have very serious symptoms. And of course that's a disaster, because many people will have minor symptoms. They'll be infected and they'll be told, oh, you're not sick enough. And what will they do? They'll go to work. They'll go around and they'll spread it. Daka from Discord here. Are you stuck in Italy? I hear that in Italy some people have been locked up for having COVID-19, sometimes for months on end. No, I'm not stuck here. I was hoping to return to Ireland for a few days to visit my family, but the problem is in Ireland for me, because there are restrictions. So if I go there, I'll have to quarantine for 14 days, and I don't want to do that. I prefer to wait until the dust has settled, until we've overcome this. I hope it's soon. But I'm not stuck in Italy. We had a serious lockdown at the beginning of the pandemic back in beginning of March, where we couldn't leave our homes unless it was for necessities. Now, as you asked this question, and thanks for that super chat, Rob. As you asked that question, actually today in the news they said here the region of Lazio, where Rome is located, they are actually going into a partial lockdown where you have to wear a mask outside at all times. I'm in the north near Venice, where we were one of the red zones at the beginning, but we don't have that problem yet. But many people are concerned because numbers are increasing once again in Italy. Just another question for me. M. Oakland says, did you see my earlier question asking whether you consider collaborating with Phil from A Different Bias? So I didn't see your... somebody had asked me a super chat on last Friday about it. No, it wasn't it was last Tuesday. And I'll try and reach out to Phil. I'd like to do a super chat with Phil. Not a live stream, sorry, or some type of collaboration with him, maybe a podcast or something. But I haven't reached out to him yet. But I will look into doing it. Depends on what he wants to do. Depends on what's the best format. I think a live stream would be good because it involves you guys, and I think it'd be more interesting for you guys than just to listen to me and him talking about something. It'd be interesting to get you guys involved as well. So I'm hoping to do maybe in the future with Phil if he's interested, and maybe with Bowler Hatman is another good YouTuber. I'd like to do a stream with him. We just need to organize it somehow. But it definitely is in the pipeline, I promise. Numbers are still quite low in Italy compared to the Netherlands. Italy is doing quite well at the moment. Touch wood. I don't want to jinx it. And I think it's because of the fact that many people have followed the rules. People maintain mask wearing and washing their hands continuously, maintain social distance, which is a bit of a pain because I had to go to the post office a few days ago and I had to queue for an hour because because the post office is not able to function correctly because of social distancing. One person in, and then they have to wait, complete, and then the next person, and there are fewer staff as well. What about Jeff Taylor? Jeff, or I assume you mean Jeff Taylor. That would be an interesting live stream. The Scotland super chat will fly in via Phil. It'd be an interesting to do a live stream with Jeff Taylor, but I don't know if Jeff would be up for that. Also, I'm small fry compared to Jeff. I think I'm trying to get to Jeff's level. Jeff has a lot of subscribers. I'm hoping to eventually get to the same level as Jeff, but he's way ahead of me at the moment. Who is Jeff? I bet I'm watching already. Jeff Taylor. He's a Brexiteer YouTuber, and I think Jeff is probably actually a really nice guy in real life. Sorry, we'll continue with this.
A month ago, nobody ever heard of this. Nobody had any idea.
Nobody could have known a thing like this could happen.
All of a sudden.
Which was a lie, because Trump was informed in February that this was a disaster and it needed to be dealt with. And what did he do? He downplayed it.
Out of nowhere came the invisible enemy.
That's absolutely not true. Trump had ample warning to act more quickly from the WHO and from officials within the administration itself. And epidemiologists have been urging governments to prepare for a long time.
For example, in February, Germany started preparing for this pandemic, but really preparing, start buying PPE, preparing their scientists, making sure their scientists and their hospitals had everything they needed in February. You know, there were governments that decided, okay, let's prepare and hope we don't need it. And there were other governments that decided, let's not prepare and hope we don't need it. And we understand who was right and who was wrong. Unfortunately, Boris Johnson was on the same side as Donald Trump.
Anybody that needs a test gets a test. They're there.
Anyone who needs a test will get a test. Does that sound familiar? Back on the 6th of March, Donald Trump, anyone who needs a test will get a test. Of course, many people couldn't get tests.
They have the tests, and the tests are beautiful.
We have the best.
I forget a lot of these things that he said. not so much the ridiculous things, but also the the adjectives he used. It's a beautiful test. They're the most beautiful tests in the world. Nobody has the more beautiful tests. We have the most beautiful tests in the world. Everyone's saying, Donald Trump, you have the greatest tests. You have the most beautiful tests. And I say, yeah, we have the most beautiful tests. What is it with people named Dale? There's a Dale Crocker guy on Max's channel and Phil's as well. Bile all day, nothing positive. I don't know. Some people just want to see the world burn. COVID is beautiful. Trump, ejectivirus. I love these tests. Trump's greatest COVID hits shows why he gets no sympathy for getting the virus. He deserves no sympathy. Secretly, we all miss this.
Best tests of any country in the world. I think I read where if you add up every other country in the world, we've tested more.
Trump has touted the U.S.'s testing capacity. He's often said the U.S. has the best testing in the world, which just isn't true. But at the same time, he's also said, testing isn't really necessary, or we don't really need to do that many tests.
If we didn't do any testing, we would have very few cases.
If we didn't do any testing, we'd have very few cases. You'd know about very few cases.
Do testing to that extent, you're going to find more people. You're going to find more cases.
But that's
my God. Like, how does he get away with this? Bob, welcome to the stream. Bonsoir. Bonsoir. No, I'll stop trying to speak French. Apologies. Trump could suffer only mild symptoms throughout, but fake serious symptoms to garner sympathy and emerge like John Wayne in triumph. Maybe, but I think it's difficult because if he has serious symptoms, then he'll need to go into hospital. And if he doesn't go into hospital, people would be saying, why isn't he going into hospital? Shouldn't he be going into hospital if he has serious symptoms? He can't. I think I understand the idea of him faking serious symptoms. But then people would say, well, why isn't he going into hospital? So I think there would be a problem with him trying to fake it. Hello from Athlone. Athlone. My grandmother lives in Athlone, actually. That's interesting. That was French. Shut up. How does he get away with it, Max? It's money. It's called money. Well said. Artemis says hospital staff still aren't getting tested routinely, only fortnightly, if they're on the wards and high-risk patients like transplants. Fortnightly. They should be tested at least twice a week. That's so insane. But didn't Matt Hancock say anyone who needs a test will get a test? It's like having cancer and saying, well, if I ignore it, I'll no longer have cancer. Exactly. I agree. Happening now, White House poll says Trump to visit Walter Reed Military Medical Center today. Ooh. Trump has a cough and low-grade fever. He could go into hospital just for, for a precaution, but that's not a good sign.
Sort of the point, if you keep testing, who is infected, you're able to treat them, you're able to keep them from infecting other people.
Supposing we hit the body with a tremendous, whether it's...
Yeah. When Trump is waving his hands about like he's playing an accordion, you know that he's talking bullshit. He's like, okay, I'm just trying to invent something at the moment. So he starts waving his hands around like he's talking, like he's playing an accordion or something.
Ultraviolet or just very powerful light. And I think you said that has him in check, but you're going to test it. The disinfectant, where it knocks it out in a minute, 1 minute. And is there a way we can do something like that by injection inside or...
Does this sound like sarcasm? Does this actually look like sound like sarcasm to anyone? Are you kidding? It's a great sign. Low-grade fever for a low-rad guy. Old people die every day with their bad ideas. On the way to Walter Reed right now. Trump's high IQ alone provided him with the bloodstream immunity that has never been seen. Trump could die of COVID on election day. Listen, obviously, but UK Office of National Statistics shows COVID rising in care homes to over 40% of cases. In Northumbria University, in Northumbria University was a disaster. 700 cases. Max, what do you think of the Scottish independence? I will get to that at another time, but let's continue with this.
Or almost a cleaning. It sounds interesting to me.
It was sort of outrageous and very dangerous to suggest that people...
And there were idiots who went out and injected themselves with disinfectant.
People should inject disinfectants like bleach into their veins.
And there were chemical companies putting out advertisements in newspapers and on TV in the United States asking people, please don't inject yourself with these chemicals.
What was also interesting was in that moment, Trump turned to one of his top public health advisors, Dr. Deborah Birx, and sort of tried to negotiate, well, why not try it out? Why not? Can we study that? It shows a lack of understanding for how the scientific process works.
But also, you don't ask these questions during a press conference. Like if Trump had asked it behind the scenes, okay, he's in his meeting with the doctors, the specialists, the experts. And then he could say, okay, tell me about, could we try this? And they go, no, you shouldn't try that. That's a ridiculous idea. This is what we can do. We're the scientists. We have studied these things. Trump seems to think that he knows more than these experts. I think it's because he's, in a certain sense, he's a bit like his cousin across the sea, Boris Johnson. just try it and see if it works. But we can't do that. Just try it anyway. Hey Max, 900 new cases reported today in Northern Ireland. 900. It's not going well viral here. Yeah, it's going viral. Hand sanitizing red wine, please. Maybe Trump plans to take his own untested vaccine as a real-life demo, even if it's only a placebo. Guys, smash that like button. We're almost halfway through the stream, so we have to up the pace.
Donald Trump has been repeatedly touting hydroxychloroquine as a cure for the coronavirus.
He bought massive amounts of it. And some people say, let's go to a laboratory, let's test it for a couple of years. And no.
Early research have found that it's maybe not the most promising treatment.
Are you going to use a drug that someone says from an anecdotal standpoint, not completely proven, but might have some effect?
The president has sort of dug into this to the point where he said he even took the medication.
And I would believe he did take it. But the problem is that I think he was so convinced that we need some sort of quick fix. No offense to Americans who are on the stream, but there is this American idea of the quick fix. Like, do you want it done right or do you want it done quick? And he wanted a quick fix. Get people back into the economy. You know, the people who are donating to my party, the businesses that I own are losing money. Why? Because people are not going to work. That we need to get people back to work. You know, whatever reason. But we have this pandemic. I don't care. Let's send people back into work. Yes, but that'll make it worse. Is there a cure? There are some experimental cures. Try anything. Get these people back into work. Donald Trump didn't give a crap about the people. He cared about his businesses. He cared about his donors' businesses. In a similar sense, what happened to a certain extent in the UK as well. You see everyone on the right in the UK saying, we need to reopen the economy. We need to get people back into work. It's your civil duty to go and buy a sandwich at the local sandwich bar. Lots of cookies. Thank you very much for that super chat. Thanks for the Friday night entertainment, Max. It's becoming hard to find something intellectually stimulating and fun at the same time. Best wishes. Thank you very much for that. Has anyone seen the trailer of the new spitting image? Interesting. So we'll come to that in a moment, I promise.
As a preventative measure.
I happen to be taking it.
Hydroxychloroquine?
I'm taking it. Hydroxychloroquine.
It really goes against the scientific consensus.
Also weigh in on this issue of hydroxychloroquine. What do you think about this, and what is the medical evidence?
That question?
Yeah. Well,
Maybe 15.
Doctor.
15 times. Okay. You don't have to ask.
He's your medical expert, correct?
I think what's interesting in that clip there is that, you know, it shows that Trump is comfortable interjecting or interrupting when public health experts are talking about.
He's like a child, who wants attention. Then when other people get attention, he gets angry about that. He's like, hey, no, focus on me. I imagine he said that he took the drug because he believed people were like, wow, Donald Trump took the drug. So then it must be working. So Donald Trump is leading the way. He probably didn't take it, but he just wants attention. See the way he interrupts the scientist. The scientist is talking. They're saying something important. He has to take a back seat. He probably has a problem with that. Can I have attention, please? Trump for sure had stocks in and beans, chloroquine and beans. Isn't he always looking for a quick fix? Yes. Have they rushed Trump to hospital? I don't think they've rushed. There seems to be new. I will try and have a look during the break if there is news about Donald Trump going to hospital. That would be interesting. But
Can you take it off because I cannot hear you?
I'll just speak louder, sir.
Oh, okay, good. You want to be politically correct. I just don't want to wear one myself. It's a recommendation. They recommend it. Wore one in this back area, but I didn't want to give the press the pleasure of seeing it.
The fact that the president doesn't wear one, I think, sort of muddles the public health message. Researchers can debate, exactly how effective these masks are. That said, it is currently the CDC's advice to wear masks when you're out and about, and many states have mandated or required people to do that when they're...
And of course, he criticized Joe Biden for wearing a mask when it was the right thing to do. Just checking to see if there's any news on this.
Crowded places.
The country wants to get back to work. Here they're going to keep Los Angeles closed till the end of August. That's a death wish. We did the right thing. Now we open. We got to get it open.
I'll say it yet again, that you should not congregate in crowds.
Public health officials, epidemiologists say you can't just rush to reopen. You have to be cautious.
Everything the wrong people were put in charge. Ministerian, thank you very much for that super chat. Melania leaks next year of how this went down at home. This is a warning for the future idiot of the week. Max Lawrence Fox has launched a new. I was actually going to talk about that. I wasn't actually going to do a fool of the week, but I was going to talk about Lawrence Fox. What an idiot! Another one who wants attention.
Even the White House plan says that, but Trump has repeatedly encouraged or pressured states to reopen more quickly. One of the most important things in responding to a pandemic is to have this unified and clear message to the public. That requires that the administration and scientists are on the same page. And sometimes it feels like they're not.
Because the administration wanted to do one thing, reopen the economy, and the scientists were saying, no, you cannot reopen the economy. We need to fight this virus. You can either fight the virus or have a booming economy. And of course, Trump wanted a booming economy. He didn't care about people. Because he was worried that it would affect his polling. It would affect what he was thinking would help him win the election, a strong economy. Although the economy was not strong. It was strong for some people. So some people were saying about I'll come to that in a moment. Let me just go here, because I checked there seems to be some news about Donald Trump going to hospital. So let's have a quick look at that. So this is 5 minutes ago. Let me just check that you can see it on your screen. Yes, okay. So it says here, Trump to be hospitalized in the wake of COVID diagnosis. The White House has confirmed that the president will go to the Walter Reed Medical Center and stay there for the next few days. The White House, full White House statement, President Trump remains in good spirits, has mild symptoms, and has been working throughout the day. Out of the abundance of caution and the recommendation of his physician and medical experts, the president will be working from the presidential offices at the Walter Reed for the next few days. President Trump appreciates the outpouring of support for both him and the First Lady. So I don't know if this is a photo. This is maybe not a photo from them of them going there. So we'll see. Now, so there could be two ways of looking at this. It could be that Night Raven says, are we certain that they haven't taken Trump to the psychiatric ward of the Walter Reed Hospital? It's like, you're taking me to the hospital? Yeah, because I have a bit of a sniffle. And the doctor's like, what? No, we're not taking you to that part of the we're not taking you to that part of the hospital. We're taking you to another part of the hospital. Somewhere we should have taken you a long time ago. So there are two ways of looking at this. It could be for precaution. Look, it's better that he goes there for a few days to make sure that he's okay. Or it could be that it's a lot more serious than it really is, than it appears. Now, it's difficult which side to fall down on, because nobody goes to Walter Reed for mild symptoms. They're hiding some. So Kenny's in the United States. He knows a lot better than I do. So, yeah, it does. You know, if there were mild symptoms, wouldn't he have just a doctor come to the White House and he'd stay in the White House? And, you know, I don't want to jump into the conspiracy theories, you know, that, you know, he's hiding it, he's really sick. I still have a feeling that probably he's sent there to be checked out, to monitor him. Experimental treatment. Or could it be that Donald Trump is demanding hospitalization? I don't know. I think he'd be the type of person. No, I'm okay. You know your old uncle who doesn't believe in going to the doctor. That's what I imagine Trump is like. So I don't think he'd go. I think he was probably convinced to go. Best way to hide a stroke is say Corona. now we're down the rabbit hole. So I think he's probably in there for observation. They say, look, we don't want to take any risks. Best to go into the hospital for a few days. Keep him monitored. Imagine the rubbish he'd be shouting. Yeah, he'd be, you can't send me away. You're not taking me. I'm not going to the nursing home. Like, don't worry, Don, we're not sending you to the nursing home. That's what you would say if you were sending me to the nursing home. Oh, my God. Okay. So, just to take a bit of a break from maybe the serious aspect of that, I want to show you a funny video, and then we'll return to the seriousness of the live stream. If you're new to the stream, remember to smash the like button. Remember, you can become a patron, or if you want, you can send a super chat or a donation. So this is a funny video surrounding Donald Trump's friend across the sea, of course, his name Boris Johnson. If it loads, please load. I can't log into Twitter because I am banned from Twitter. I can only view things. If it loads, we'll remove that. Don't know why it's so slow tonight. Come on.
Donald, I wish you all the best recovering from an illness that, like me, you completely brought on yourself. I know how difficult it is trying to run a country with your brain turned to mush, and that was before I got COVID. In a mark of international solidarity, at 8 p.m, everyone in Britain will stand on their doorsteps and pay tribute to you in the appropriate way, by removing their masks and spluttering all over their neighbours. I know it's what you'd want.
So I'm really looking forward to Spitting Image. It's a fantastic show. It was a fantastic show, so I hope the new series is just as good. Okay, let's move on. So, of course, staying on the topic of the coronavirus, we have this news that's just come in. Our good friend Matt Hancock. Council's given 5 minutes notice of local lockdown confirmation. Exclusive. So Hartlepool and Middlesbrough councils received draft press release just before Matt Hancock's statement. Now it's interesting with Middlesbrough, because the mayor of Middlesbrough has refused to go into lockdown, to take his town into lockdown. But what does it say here? So council leaders in England were given 5 minutes notice of local lockdown rules being confirmed in their areas, according to emails seen by The Guardian. Amid growing calls for local authorities to have more control over the restrictions, Keir Starmer, the Labour leader, is urging ministers to put councils in the driving seat. Hartlepool and Middlesbrough councils were only informed of the confirmed detail of the proposed restrictions when they received a draft press release from the Department of Health and Social Care at 10:25 a.m. on Thursday, 5 minutes before the measures were announced by Matt Hancock, leaked emails suggest. So why are they not involving the councils? Well, could it be because many of these councils are run by Labour or non-Tory councillors or mayors? I don't like his face. Why were you banned? So, okay, I'll explain this very quickly. So, before the lockdown, before Boris Johnson went into hospital with COVID, I got very angry with him because he was dismissing. He was talking about, I'm shaking hands with people, blah blah blah, and I made a bad comment about this on Twitter. I got very frustrated and I said something not very good about Boris Johnson and the pandemic. And a few weeks later, I received a notification from Twitter saying you are banned from Twitter for hoping that people would suffer or be inflicted with some sort of condition. I was letting off steam at the time. I didn't actually truly mean it. So it was a bad comment and I suffered the consequences for that. Some people have said much worse and they were not banned from Twitter, but I was banned because of that. Trump may be a vampire as he does wear a lot of makeup. Yes, awfully nice of Donald to test for all of us. Chocolate, of course. Oh no, I didn't read that. Okay, I can see the government spinning it that that it was the council's responsibility, but in the end they had to order them what to do with little notice because they couldn't manage it for themselves. See, there is also this problem of offloading responsibility onto the councils. 32 days to election. There is this idea of let's offload responsibility onto the local councils. Then when things go badly, well, it's not our fault. It's not Matt Hancock's fault because it's Hartlepool's fault or Liverpool's fault or Middlesbrough's fault. To be clear, Max, the councils only invite Matt Hancock to contact them late because they don't want to run risk of him walking to their offices and standing next to unwitting female staff members. Probably true. Twitter squatter. Wow, 32 days until the general election in the United States. Wow, not much time. Stormer, the restrictions are significant extension to national. In Merseyside, sorry, I didn't read this part. In Merseyside, there were new rules that were announced on Thursday. It is understood that the council bosses were briefed on the measures 30 minutes before Hancock's statement. One senior source said that they were surprised and concerned that the rules had been watered down from what they had been than what had been discussed with the minister only 12 hours earlier. That's very interesting. So Matt Hancock and the health minister, he's the health secretary and the health minister, probably said, look, we need to do a full lockdown. And then 12 hours later, they receive a notification. No, there's not going to be a full lockdown. There's going to be this. The restrictions are a significant extension to nationwide measures to and make it illegal for households in the area to mix in any outdoor setting, including pubs, bars, restaurants and cinemas. The legislation will apply to nearly 5 million people across Merseyside, Warrington and most of the northeast England from Saturday. So the problem I see with all of this is that there seems to be this attempt by Boris Johnson and his government to do local lockdowns, but they're not really lockdowns because they say, okay, we close bars and restaurants at, completely or half close them. But people still go to work. Schools are still open. So how is that a lockdown? And also, people can enter and leave the area. That's not a lockdown. There's no restriction on movement. In Wales, there's another problem. In Wales, they have strict rules for Welsh people. People from Wales can't leave certain areas. But English people can enter those areas and then leave those areas, which sort of makes a mockery of having a type of lockdown. Lockdown in name only. Lino. And Pence will pardon Trump. Pence becomes Trump. What a mental image. If Trump dies, then legally Melania becomes president. Trump wanted to experiment with treatment that was known as truth. Administered rectally. His mouth was allergic, but could Donald handle the boot? The boof, sorry. My mates want a holiday, and I was going to go, as I'm desperate, but I'm not. It's not about me. You can't enter or leave within Wales. What if Pence is infected too? That would be interesting. No, Pence has tested negative, so it's not really an issue for Pence. So, okay, let's move on. Of course, sort of flew under the radar, but it's still very important, is the fact that Boris Johnson is planning to go to Brussels to save Brexit. So there's this article here. I just want to read part of this. It says, Van der Leyen says parts of Brexit talks completely open ahead of showdown. Boris Johnson will speak to European Commission President via video conference call on Saturday. I actually thought he was actually going to go to Brussels, but that's not the case. It's not safe. Does anyone know if they have a McDonald's in the Walter Reed Medical Center? I like being bad. Look, Anthony, if they don't, they will have some KFC shipped in, okay, I promise. Kip, thank you very much for that super chat as well. I think Michael Gove is going to Brussels to discuss a walk back. Sorry, why did I read wall? A walk back. Boris desperately needs a deal. I think Boris overshot his bluff. I agree 100%. I think Boris... So what's going to happen? I think Boris is going to... It's interesting that he's sending Michael Gove there. But I've said this from the beginning. Boris Johnson is going to try and get some sort of bare bones deal. He's going to Italy for a piss up. Probably. To that Russian oligarch's castle. What was a medieval castle he has. Refurbished castle in Perugia. Listy 1987, great to have you on the stream. Walk back in anger. Yeah, I think Boris Johnson is going to try and get some sort of bare bones deal, and then return to Parliament and sell it as this oven ready deal. Look, I promised you an oven ready deal. Here is the oven ready deal. Here is the deal. I have succeeded. I have defeated the European Union. The European Union went weak at the knees as soon as I entered the room, and they said, "We're so sorry, Boris. We'll give you whatever you want. We're in awe of your hair, so we will your hairstyle. We will give you whatever you want. Fishing rights, security. We'll do whatever you plead." Just YouTube, Lindsey Graham bagging. Oven ready food poisoning. The hamburger burglar infected Trump and Johnson are tweets. Yes, but I think it's maybe he's sending Michael Gove over to tell the truth. Look, we need a deal. We'll sign off on whatever you want. We need to maintain the party. You know, we don't want to be destroyed at the next election. We don't want a new election to be called before the end of the current session of Parliament. So please give us something. You have to remember that Michael Gove doesn't give a crap about Brexit. He gives a crap about his position, which could be interesting because I think he is looking to have Boris Johnson removed. Anyway, so Ursula von der Leyen has described the most difficult parts of the Brexit negotiations as remaining completely open, but lacked an intensification of talks ahead of a crunch video conference call with Boris Johnson. Wouldn't it be fantastic to see that video? After the latest and last scheduled round of negotiations in Brussels on a trade and security deal, the European Commission President said that there remained a lot of work to do, with 100 days left before the UK exits the single market and the customs union. But the former German defense minister told journalists at the end of the EU summit, there will be a will, where there is a will, there is a way. Which is interesting because they're not saying it's over. Look, that's why I think there's still a chance that Boris Johnson can get a deal. There's a sort of saber rattling going on. The EU are saying, look, there's still time to get a deal. Let's work towards something. Boris Johnson is saying, look, we're willing to defend the UK at every turn, but we want to have a deal. I think what's going to happen is the EU will say, this is what we're going to provide with you. This is our deal here. Take it or leave it. And Boris will say, okay, I'll take it. Because he doesn't care about Brexit. He doesn't care about fishing. He doesn't care about the border. He doesn't care about Northern Ireland. He doesn't care about any of these things. He has demonstrated on numerous occasions. Does Bojo want to save Brexit or his face? George, thank you for that super chat. I think he just wants to save his face. Brexiteers, some Brexiteers will buy whatever Boris Johnson sells them. Look, perfect example of this was the oven-ready deal or the withdrawal agreement. When they created the withdrawal agreement bill, hardly anyone actually read it. And Ian Duncan Smith, this arch Brexiteer, one who's pulled out onto TV or on the radio to defend the government position on Brexit. I call him the placeholder politician. He's sent out all the time to judge the waters, to test the waters, to see, okay, what can we push on the public? And he didn't even bother to read the withdrawal agreement bill. He voted to fast track the reading of the bill, so that politicians wouldn't actually have time to read it. Ian Duncan Smith doesn't give a crap about Brexit. He knows it's a useful tool for him, but he doesn't actually care about what it will do to the UK. He cares about, what can I get from this? In the same way that Nigel Farage doesn't care about Brexit. He doesn't care about the UK. He doesn't care about immigrants coming across the sea. He sees all of these things as tools to enhance his position. How can I use this to my advantage? It's not, and it's quite frustrating listening to Nigel Farage's supporters who actually believe or think that he actually cares about the UK or cares about these immigrants. Or when he drives around, chauffeur-driven, in a Range Rover to hotels to harass immigrants and to harass the people who own these hotels. He's doing it because he needs to maintain his position. He doesn't care about these people. Why would he care about these people? He has lots of money. It's about power. It's about his position. He needs to remain relevant. Nigel Farage doesn't need to do this for money anymore. It's about, it's a drug. Attention is like a drug for these people. They want to remain relevant. They don't want to be forgotten. And you can see how this issue of immigration suddenly exploded in the last number of months. Nigel Farage started making videos about it. Before that, everything was quiet. I actually thought Nigel Farage had pretty much disappeared. There was talk of him going to America. That didn't seem to work out very well for him. which of those mugs who tried to become Brexit Party candidates paid for? When Farage supporters ever found out that Farage really is, they will never trust any politician ever again. I hope they do. I hope they never trust any I could understand, but they actually bought into it. They didn't apply any critical thinking skills. Like, I'm somewhat of a fan of Keir Starmer, but I'm critical of Keir Starmer. I know that there's a part of him that wants to become prime minister because of his ego. He's a good guy. I think he wants to do good things. But of course, you can't remove that from him. There is an ego within all politicians. They want to become prime minister. For the love of it, I think. Very few politicians, very, very few, have the ambition to become prime minister to make the world a better place or the country a better place. A lot of it is ego. And, maybe they get pulled along as well. And, we are human at the end of the day. Maybe Nigel Farage is not. But it's Nigel isn't racist enough for American politics. They're like, who's this liberal guy? Who's this socialist? Was it Ben Shapiro with that interview with that was Andrew Neil, where he called Andrew Neil a leftist. The BBC host of the Andrew Neil, he called Ben Shapiro, this fast-talking idiot from the United States, who called Andrew Neil a leftist. That was hilarious. It was one of the funniest moments on TV in history, I think. Anyone who wants to be a politician should not be a politician, yes. For example, I'm going off on a bit of a tangent here, but for example, in Italy, there is the 5-star movement, and they want politicians to remain, it's a job that you do for a number of years, and then you return to your life before that. And I actually value that, because if you want to make the country a better place, you try to do it, and then once you have done your bit, you go back to normal life again. It's not a type of job for life, which many politicians do. It's like, oh, this is really comfortable. I get paid big bucks and I don't actually have to do a lot. And then, I can sort of sit in the back benches and just shout from time to time, and everything's okay. I sit in a safe seat and I'm okay, and I never really have to do anything. We should be moving away from that type of mentality. Politicians, it's a duty. You get paid the money necessary, you do the job for a maximum of 2 sessions, and then you go back to normal life, and you leave it open for someone else to come along. People with new ideas. There are, of course, problems with that, but anyway. Kip, thank you very much for that super chat. Guys, don't underestimate Michael Gove. He's a tactical political tactician that answers questions indirectly for a plausible retraction in future. I agree 100%. Yes, he's very, very slippery. You notice, I uploaded a video about him this morning, I think it was, where you notice he's better than Boris Johnson. Boris Johnson has his basic attack the questioner, don't answer the question, and then ask for unity. This is Boris Johnson's basic way of responding to any question. You can see it on he uses at least 2 of the 3 or all 3 of these tactics. First attack, ignore, and then ask for unity. Michael Gove is different. He's a bit more intelligent in this way, that he tries to twist what the person is saying. He understands who the person asking the question is. For example, with Hilary Benn, he knows Hilary Benn is deeply supportive of the European Union, so he tries to twist the knife where he can. He's a horrible person, Michael Gove. He's not just, a politician who has I don't think Michael Gove is the type of person when he's outside the House of Parliament that he's a different person. He's the type of guy, when you meet him, on the street, he's a different guy. I actually have a feeling he's pretty much like that all the time, but I don't know. I have never met the guy. Any chance, Frank, thank you very much for that super chat. Any chance that when Boris gone to Brussels, refused to let him back. It's like, when he comes back, you could actually put him in one of those Priti Patel. Put him on one of those planes off to, where is that island they were talking about sending refugees to, which I find very similar to what some people were doing back in the 1930s, where they were sending a certain religious group of people. They were considering sending them to Madagascar. Anyway, just to continue with this quickly, but the former German, okay, she said, where there's a will, there's a way. Her comments came as a spokesman for the Prime Minister said Johnson will speak to the Commission President on Saturday afternoon and take stock of the negotiations and discuss next steps. So if we have some video footage from that, I will upload it onto the channel and respond to it. After their last meeting in June, Johnson had declared it's time to put a tiger in the tank. Yeah, I remember that of the negotiation. The Prime Minister had insisted that that it was even possible to strike a deal before the summer was out. 3 months have since passed. Of course, you know, Boris. Van der Leyen said the two sides were stuck on the issue of access to British waters for European fleets, which is something that maybe there's been a bit of movement on, and the so-called level playing field provisions being pushed by Brussels to ensure that neither economies can undercut standards or unfairly subsidize businesses through state aid. And so there isn't really any news here. Just let's continue as we are. Now, of course, Boris wants to break the deadlock. He wants to be seen as someone who's moving things forward. And I think his goal is to use whatever tactics he can and get his deal. I know Phil from A Different Bias has said, has suggested in the past also that maybe there's going to be a risk that they'll crash out without a deal by accident. That's still a possibility, and that's a huge possibility. I think, the Boris Johnson messes about too much, and they're like, okay, we need to sign off on this, this, and this, and Boris is like, wait a minute, but it's it's 11 o'clock in the evening. My taxi is waiting outside. Can we just leave it for another time? No, we need to do it now. It's like, but no, we crashed out. Something like that. So if Boris fails enough, any suggestions that what island he should be banished to, like Napoleon? Napoleon was sent to, it was an Italian island. I forget. I haven't been there, but I know it's a beautiful island. Somebody in the chat will know. And then I'll be kicking myself because I know the name, but I've forgotten it. Elba Island, sorry. Elba Island. So Napoleon was sent to Elba Island, which is beautiful, and he had a huge villa built on Elba Island for him. Beautiful exile, much better than many people. Not Corsica, no, he was sent to Elba. Yeah, unless it was after he went to Corsica. No, he went to, as far as I know, he went to Elba. Anyway, Boris working 11 in the evening? Never. No, that's true. Okay, let's move on. We'll leave that. Now, I just wanted to talk quickly about this. Whoops, I lost the link for a moment. Yes. So, of course, the issue we're talking before about Nigel Farage. And Nigel Farage brought up this issue of immigration and saying, we need to do something about immigration. It's a disaster, whatever. So this is a very worrying story that connects both the pandemic and immigration. The Home Office moved COVID-affected asylum seekers against orders. Dozens moved from Birmingham to London despite instructions to self-isolate. The Home Office, who is running this and who's going to take responsibility for this? Shouldn't it be Priti Patel? Priti Patel, the buck ends there. She has to take responsibility for this. The Home Office moved dozens of asylum seekers involved in a COVID outbreak, more than 120 miles, maybe to test their eyesight, I don't know, despite an enforcement order saying that they should remain in self-isolation for 14 days, The Guardian has learned. Home office contractors, private company of course, have been accused of being beyond reckless in their handling of the initial outbreak. Among those who were moved despite the instructions to self-isolate, at least 9 people were found to have COVID following testing, although the Home Office has initially said none had tested positive. It's like, we had 9 of these people. I will just say that none of them were actually infected. The initial outbreak was among asylum seekers in home office accommodation in Birmingham. Public health officials deemed it too overcrowded to be COVID secure, and after at least 26 people tested positive, the enforcement action has taken ordering everyone in the accommodation to self-isolate for 14 days, but the Home Office moved 40 people to the west of London borough of Hammersmith and Fulham. A letter of complaint sent to the Home Secretary, Priti Patel, has seen by The Guardian, 6 councils in the Midlands accused Home Office contractors of being beyond reckless in their handling of the Birmingham outbreak, while a separate letter from the Hammersmith and Fulham Council accused the Home Office of moving COVID from one part of the country to another. So I think what's very simple here is that two main problems. One is, well, just move these people around. We don't care. We say that we're serious about the pandemic, when in reality they're not serious about the pandemic. And the second problem is contractors. So what happens is you have the government are hiring private contractors to deal with problems. And the private contractors don't care about regulations. They don't care about what's happening outside their sphere. Oh, we need to move people. Okay, we move people. Oh, the place is overcrowded. Let's move them to another site. Yes, but you can't do that because of the pandemic. Oh, well, but it's overcrowded. We need to move them, without actually understanding the impact of that. But these are private companies. I don't know. Let me see if it says the name of the contractors. Honestly, I had not read all of this out. I just read the first part, and I could have put money on the table and said, look, I'm going to put money on the table and guess who the contractor is, and if anyone wanted to bet against me, they would have lost. Serco. A letter from the Midlands Council complained about the way Home Office and its contractors Serco handled the outbreak at the Birmingham accommodation. So Serco is a company that is a very interesting company. Well, I'll just let you see. Don't take my word for it. Don't want to go to their website. I prefer to go to their Wikipedia page. Here we go. Let me just see that you can see it. Yes, you can see it too. Serco. So Serco is used to be part of Group 4, and then Group 4 was pretty much disbanded. Serco is a private company that many people don't understand is actually responsible for a lot of the privatization that has taken place in the UK at the moment. For example, prisons and justice has been outsourced to private companies. A lot of that. Housing, defense, aviation, health, okay, the health service. For example, the test and trace, a lot of the test and trace work is done by Serco. It's not done when Boris Johnson says NHS NHS test and trace. He's not talking about the NHS. He's talking about Serco test and trace. Okay. The NHS do some of the work. Serco and another company do most of the work. It's a private company. Okay. When Boris Johnson says, "How dare Keir Starmer attack the hard workers at NHS test and trace?" When Keir Starmer says the government are not, testing enough people. The government are not following through with these tests. They're not providing the tests that they had promised before. Boris Johnson's response is, how dare you attack the good, hard-working, decent, ordinary people at NHS Test and Trace, when in reality it's not NHS Test and Trace, it's Serco. And I really wish that Keir Starmer would actually respond to that and say, no, it's not, it's Serco. Why are you saying it's NHS Test and Trace? Education, leisure. So you're probably going, well, how does this company get so many government contracts? They actually mainly work on government contracts. They don't actually work in the public sector. They don't actually provide many services to the private sector. So a key person in Serco, he is he is the CEO of Serco. His name is Robert Christopher Soames. You're like, Soames, that's a familiar name. I wonder if I know if he's related to someone. Yes, he's the brother of Christopher Soames, who was a member of the government. So he was, I think he was, damn it, this thing keeps moving. Apologies. He was defense, let me see, just a moment. Edward Heath. Okay, now he was a member of Parliament for Bedford from 1950 to 1966 and held several government positions attained in the cabinet rank. He's the son-in-law of Winston Churchill, but he's a brother of he's the brother of this guy from Serco. But of course he still has he was leader of the House of Lords under Margaret Thatcher, concurrent with his duties in Rhodesia. There was something about him in. He had some role in the current, not a current government. No, he was. He's in his 80s now, but I know he had some senior position in a recent government as well, maybe about 10 years ago. Soames and Churchill. So what? Is there a connection between the Tory party and Serco? Yes, there is. Minister of State and the Armed Forces. Serco Test and Trace. Test and Race, more like. Delight are also doing testing, yes. Look at Dodi's. Dodi's dad. This government are corrupt and to new levels that I've not seen before, and they make no apology and are totally unashamed. So just back to this where it says, so the Home Office handed this contract to Serco, and Serco were responsible for this outbreak. Well, not for the outbreak, but for the accommodation at this outbreak. Signed by Ian Ward, the leader of the Birmingham City Council, and co-signed by Birmingham Ecclesbaston MP Pret Gill, and the leaders of the Solihull, Wolverhampton, Coventry, Sandwell, Walsall councils. The letter states that adequate measures were not put in place to prevent an outbreak in the accommodation. Built to accommodate 270 asylum seekers and 30 staff, the accommodation consists of shared rooms for 2 people and shared bathrooms for 5 people, and dining facilities can seat 100 people. So, of course, see, this type of accommodation is not suitable during the pandemic. This is okay when there isn't a pandemic, but we're not at the beginning of the pandemic and we're like, okay, what can we do? We're talking about months into the pandemic, and then they're like, oh crap, there's an outbreak. Now what do we do? Well, let's just move people around the country. Insane. Now, related to that, of course, is another story. I just want to show you that. Just a moment. Is this idea, government offshore asylum idea attacked as morally bankrupt? So humanitarian groups and charities have reacted with fury to revelations renovations. That number 10, officials explored sending asylum seekers to offshore detention centers in Moldova, Morocco, and the Atlantic Islands, branding the move morally bankrupt. Like Serco, one name stands out here. A source close to the Home Office told the Guardian that the Prime Minister's chief advisor, Dominic Cummings, had become obsessed with the Channel crossings in the weeks before documents on the implications of the idea were produced in mid-September. He's annoyed that it's always in the press, and he thinks it's going down really badly with the Red Wall voters. So the Red Wall voters are the ones who, the people who used to be Labour supporters in the north and then voted for the Tories because of Brexit, because Boris Johnson promised to get Brexit done. These are people who actually voted to leave and they wanted to get Brexit done. And he wants to deal with it. And he thinks there's quite extreme ways would be totally fine with Red Wall voters, which it probably is. So they're basically saying that the Red Wall voters are racists, and they just want to get rid of these people. Doesn't say a lot about Brexiteers, does it? You know, Brexiteers would say, no, we're not racist. We just don't want immigrants around. We prefer to ship them off to other countries, maybe to the other side of the planet if possible. The document seen by the Guardian suggests that for weeks, the government has for weeks been working on detailed plans that include cost estimates of building asylum detention camps on the South Atlantic islands of Ascension and St. Helena, as well as Moldova, Morocco, and Papua New Guinea. Humanitarian groups and refugee charities condemned the proposals. The Amnesty International UK director Kate Allen said, "It's a dismal reflection upon Home Office ministers that this idea is effectively to exile people seeking asylum to far-flung and isolated places has been given any consideration at all. This is extremely immoral and inhumane." That sums up the Conservative Party to a T, doesn't it? Immoral and inhumane. If you don't believe me, ask anyone on Universal Credit. The the Chief Executive of Refugee Action, Stephen Hale, said the government's speculative plans to round up human beings and confine them in prison boats or camps on remote islands are inhumane and morally bankrupt. Britain is better than this. We need a fair and effective asylum system based on compassion, safety, and the rule of law. In a sense, we're seeing how the UK is not that interested in the rule of law. Boris Johnson is not interested in the rule of law. Now, is this going to go ahead? It's probably not going to go ahead. It would be extremely expensive, and the idea, how do you get these people over to the other side of the world? You'd have to fly them over. But the idea that Dominic Cummings is driving this is insane. Who is the Prime Minister at the moment? Is it Boris Johnson or is it Dominic Cummings? Dominic Cummings, once again, it's the tail wagging the dog here. Dominic Cummings deciding we should do this. Okay. Dominic Cummings, about the test. What was it about the testing? There was an article about the testing, and Dominic Cummings was involved. Dominic Cummings sitting in on SAGE meetings, telling them, being the go-between between SAGE and the Prime Minister, filtering the message from SAGE to the Prime Minister. I'm not technically supposed to vote, to be honest, but Brexit and the government are officially a train wreck and an embarrassment to the United Kingdom. Boris is Prime, Cummings is Minister. Get indie reference done in 2021. People need to stop humouring Dominic Furious Baconhead Cummings. Yes. Dominic Cummings needs to go. And the idea that he didn't go because he was even though he broke the rules. And there are even people on this channel today defending Dominic Cummings, saying, no, you can't compare what Dominic Cummings did to what the Scottish MP did. So I just want to, before we get to the end of the stream, I just want to clarify something that some people didn't understand about what I was saying about that Scottish MP. George, thank you very much for that super chat. Bojo, the Prime Minister. Very good. Cumgate Cummins has even more Meyer crap to blackmail Barrow, so is why he's still there, probably. He has a few videos that Boris doesn't want seen, the public to see. Boris will dress like Santa and bring Brexit to all the good boys and girls. It will be coal. Clean coal. You know, Donald Trump promoted clean coal. They wash the coal. So just something I wanted to say about, so some people were maybe confused. I was not defending what that Scottish MP did. She should resign. The SNP have taken the whip from her, and they have said she should resign, and she should resign. She broke the rules. She should resign. The same way Dominic Cummings broke the rules, he should resign. The same way that the Irish commissioner, what's his name, he resigned. It was necessary for him to resign. It was correct that he resigned. There are other politicians who have broken the rules and have not resigned, and they should have resigned. There's no ifs or buts about this. They have to resign. Because they represent the government. Some people are trying to get, well, Dominic Cummings didn't, he was worried about his family. No, he was not worried about his family. He just wanted to get away from there. And then he drove around to test his eyesight. Bloody hell. Who the hell believes that? Does anyone actually still believe that? It's all a pile of crap. Phil Hogan, thank you very much. Filthy Phil Hogan. Cummings didn't resign though. And Cummings will not resign. He's protected. The idea that he gave his press conference, he answered those questions in the Rose Garden, in the spot that's reserved for foreign dignitaries or for ex-prime ministers, I think it's former prime ministers. The idea that he sat there dressed like no offense to homeless people, but dressed like a homeless guy. How he got away with, like, the brass face on him to get away with that. He was testing his eyes, Max. This is a job for Captain Specsavers. Oh my god. So not much more to say about this. So let's see how, I think the news is moving quite quickly. Let me see if there's any update on Donald Trump. I'll just do a quick so the news as of 2 minutes ago on let me see, I can actually show it to you guys. I'll show you the same thing that I'm actually looking at. Just refresh this. So 2 minutes ago, Trump still has not left the White House. It's been more than 45 minutes now that Marine One has been waiting on the lawn to fly the president. Was he waiting? He's like packing stuff. Like, how long is he going for? It's like, you know, wait a minute, I forgot my other wig. Wait a minute, I need the special wig. Where did I put my orange paint? Look, I think I put it in that suitcase, but no, I checked, and it's not in that suitcase. Mr. President, we can get you another one. We can ship it into you. No, I don't leave home without my orange paint, my orange spray paint. He hasn't died or something. How sick is Donald Trump? Actually, this is quite interesting, so we'll just read a quick part of this. News of hospitalization prompts questions. The White House officials have described the choice to move Donald Trump to Walter Reed Medical Center as a choice made out of abundance of caution. That's probably true, and has described him as working from Walter. Donald Trump doesn't work from Walter Reed for the next few days, But the move has prompted serious questions. If the president has only mild symptoms, why move him to hospital? Oh, we have another update. Is there something? Why fly Trump to hospital? It's a normal choice, some experts say. Yeah, flying is always the safer option. This is not about speed. It's about mitigating the threats and vulnerabilities around ground movement of the president. Okay. It's not atypical at all. In fact, I'm having a hard time remembering when a president didn't take Marine One to Walter Reed. Okay. But the decision to move the president reflects a level of concern far above the description of the president with mild symptoms. In less than 24 hours, Trump has gone from no symptoms to mild symptoms to fever, fatigue, to experimental drugs, to admission to Walter Reed Medical Center for several days. What's interesting, we're not seeing any pictures of him. All eyes on Washington as reporters wait for Trump to be flown to a hospital. Yeah, we're not seeing any pictures yet. It's interesting he hasn't, given a press conference or even a video conference to say, look, I'm sorry, I'm off to the hospital. I'm not feeling very well, but I'm okay. It's nothing serious. There's nothing like that. The less information you have, the more people fill in the blanks themselves, which is interesting. Don't insult me. I was homeless for 16. I'm very sorry to say that. Apologies for that. I didn't mean any offense by that. Sorry. It was wrong of me to say that. And he called Joe Biden sleepy. I'm thinking Trump may be greeted by all his little mates in prison. He'd be beaten up in prison. Helicopter struggling to take off. Marine One taking off now. Didn't mean to turn this into a sort of live feed on scroll up. Trump. Okay, so here's a picture of Trump. A visual of Trump striding out alone to the helicopter is likely to be seen as reassurance that his case of coronavirus is still mild. Wearing a suit, President of the United States walks out to Marine One to leave for Walter Reed. So he's not been brought out in a wheelchair. So it means that he's not so bad. Surely they would, even normally they would. Well, he probably, when he arrives in the hospital, they'll take him in a wheelchair. No, my apologies about the comment about homeless. It was wrong of me to say that, so please accept my apologies for that. That was a stupid thing to say. It's a very serious issue and I shouldn't be joking about it. Herman Cain says that's terrible. No desalcy. Best of luck. Get well soon to Trump from his Twitter account. Take me to Bernard Castle. Oh my god. Mein Kampf Trump Proud Boy Calendar 2020 coloring book crayons. He was seen wearing a mask. Yeah, in the picture I don't know if you can see very well, but he is wearing a mask. I heard he was asymptomatic and really and ready for his next rally. he'd be hugging everyone. Let's move to talk about the supremacists, shall we? Wait, we're talking about Trump again. Please disregard. The idea that he reached out to the Proud Boys. Yeah, stand by. Later he came out and said, no, I meant to say stand down. But his response was automatically, the Proud Boys are I'm telling them to stand by. But what about the left? What about this? What about Joe Biden and the left? This was his automatic response. Not, okay, I want these people not to do anything. Stop. Wearing a mask to hospital. talk about horses faster than a button. Yes. When Boris was ill, Downing Street downplayed it initially. That's true. I was healed by Sputnik to help pay off his $400 million debt. Yes. Trump has overdosed on the small blue pill that Melania said would make him like the British leader. Mark, that's terrible. Trump has had a fever since this morning, a source said. He received something appearing on my screen. Has had a fever since this morning, the source said. He received a dose of an experimental Rengaran treatment, according to a memo from the president's physician. That's interesting. So guys, we're at the end of the stream. I would like to keep us updated on this, but I think the news so far is that Donald Trump is on his way to the hospital. Doesn't seem to be any more news on that. So we're very close to the end of the stream. I'm just going to, before we finish the stream tonight, just want to say a big thank you to everyone who has come on the stream. A big thank you to everyone who has sent a very kind super chat and a donation. That's greatly appreciated. Thank you so much for all of that. Remember, our next live stream is on Tuesday at 9:30, same bat time, same bat channel, but it will be a special live stream. It will be a Q&A. So what I'm going to do is, before Tuesday, I'm going to on the community page on the channel, I'm going to create a post where you can post your questions to me if you have any questions. Yeah, the Q&A. So any questions about me, about the channel, about the future, I'll select a number of those questions. I'll try and read out as many as I can in the 2 hours. So I'm not going to look at any news articles unless something really serious happens. But I will try to answer. I will, of course, keep the stream for a Q&A. Just to give you a bit of an update on the channel and how things are going, and Patreon and Discord. So if anyone would like to become a patron, if you do, it gives you immediate access to Discord, where we have all our fun discussions, chats, and we have also our after stream chat. So if you're a patron, you can come on Discord and we can chat about what we talked about in the stream tonight, or general things. We also have our beer chat on a Saturday night as well. Billionaires' lives matter, apparently. So once again, a big thank you to everyone for liking the stream. Also, if you can't afford to become a Patreon, you can still just support the channel by liking the videos, leaving a comment, sharing them on social media if you can. That's greatly appreciated. Okay, so before we finish, I just want to have one more video for the road. Our little funny, no, not this one. Is it this one? Yes. Sorry, just whoops.
I just off the phone to Big Sandra there. Here the news is broke that I've got the COVID and it's all over the telly and everything. And with the daddy, went right ahead, went to Parliament and got a train back to Scotland. I mean, honest to God, it's not as if I wasn't fucking tell. At the end of the day, I've made a grave mistake. I mean, and I'm the whip. I think I know what will be getting whipped now. What a brass neck. I mean, it wasn't easy even if I was going to get my eyes tested. I mean, the police have been tell. Everybody's been tell. So that'll be me in lockdown. That'll fucking learn me. I suppose we all should know it shouldn't be one rule for one and a rule for the other. We are all in this together, remember? Right, Frank, get the door. I just off the phone to Big Sandra there.
Okay, that's Janie. Normally she does the other one with Nicola Sturgeon, but that's fantastic as well. So guys, once again, thank you so much for coming on the stream. Have a great night, a great weekend, and I'll see you all next Tuesday, same bat time, same bat channel at 9:30 British summertime. So have a great night as well, and as Boris Johnson always says, stay alert. I'll see you guys soon. Remember our Q&A on a Tuesday night. Frank, get the door. Good night, guys.